10, 11 years ago, my manager and agent called me and said, we can't work with you anymore because of your political point of view and you're being a Christian. I mean, the studios aren't going to want to work. And I went, that's amazing. You guys are the ones screaming for tolerance all the time. You know, tolerate what we do with our movies, tolerate our point of view. Yet tolerance is a one-way street with these guys. Hollywood is just as bad as Washington, D.C. with their hypocrisy. They know they're hypocrites. They know that they embrace the lie more than the truth, but they don't care. They just don't care. It's incredibly evil out there right now. And I don't harbor that anger and hatred to somebody who has a different point of view.
We believe that you are strong by design, and you were made in God's image to have a strong body, mind, and spirit. You're listening to the #1 strength and health authority podcast in the world. So let's get ready to unlock your potential and transform your life in today's episode. Hello, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the Strong by Design podcast. Hosting today, Coach Chris Wilson. So delighted to have you. Co-host, Mr. Jared Haley. Jared, welcome, man.
Hey.
Hey, we don't do this often enough where we co-host with a guest. So
yeah, it's fun.
It is fun. We're going to have to do more of this, I think. And since you and I just like talking with each other too. So
that's right.
So this is fun. So thanks for making the time to join me with this very special guest that we have today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for landing on the Strong by Design podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. You've landed on a terrific episode to begin the Strong by Design experience, and you can go back and listen to hundreds of previous episodes here. We're in our 6th year on the podcast, doing very, very, very well, and we've actually just in August had such a wonderful month into September, and the show is continuing to climb and do better. And I really feel because it's having more meaningful conversation that matters and stuff that's a little bit more in the now rather than just always evergreen stuff. So really kind of hitting on some things that are more cultural issues of the day. So we're going to be tackling some of those today with our special guest. If you're a past listener, welcome back. Always great to have you here on Strong by Design. And if you haven't yet, please hit 5 stars or leave us a review. We'd love to hear back from you regarding a past episode, a special guest that we had, or a topic that you'd love to hear us discuss here on Strong by Design. And we're always looking for that type of response and feedback from you. So thank you in advance for doing that. Our guest today, our special guest, the legendary Hercules. He's an actor. He's a husband and a father and a Christian man. And his name is Kevin Sorbo. Kevin may be best known for his 90s series Hercules, which ran for 6 seasons. From 95 to 99.
7.
Oh, sorry. Was it 7?
7.
Oh, man. So the
7.
Wikipedia is a bunch of baloney.
We had 6 one-hour episodes, 6 seasons, but the first season was 5 2-hour movies that we shot 10 weeks each. That's a season. We shot an entire year.
Yeah.
So
holy cow.
I was in that show for 7 years.
That's awesome.
Because without the movies, the series never would have happened. Universal, by the 3rd movie, loved what they saw, and they said, "You're staying in New Zealand. We love what we see."
Hey, yeah, New Zealand, not a bad place to hang out. No. Gosh, they've done a lot of great movies and films down there over the decades. So his show became one of the highest rated syndicated TV shows in the world at the time, actually.
No,
it was #1.
We passed Baywatch. We were the most watched TV show in the world by season 3, 176 countries.
Wow.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
It's a stigmatized, but I don't care. I got to say.
Yeah.
Kevin's also well known for standing up for his Christian and conservative beliefs in Hollywood, which we'll get into a little bit today, of course. And today we'll be discussing his brand new children's book with Brave Books titled The Test of Lionhood, which we'll get to a bit later. Yes, I love it. Can't wait to get copies for our own children. Jared and I both have younger kids. At least the youngest of our kids will really want to read that. Kevin's been in a ton of films as well over the years, most notably Soul Surfer, God's Not Dead, Let There Be Light, What If, Walking Tall, The Payback, Forgiven, And Left Behind, Rise of the AntiChrist, released earlier this year. And he has a new film that's actually behind you that's about to release in October, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, October 29th, 30th. Go to sorbostudios.com or miracleineasttexas.com. Get tickets now. We need to fill up those theaters right now. Great.
Well, Jared and I will do that. Jared, let's do that.
100%.
Maybe on Monday we'll share it with the team at our team meeting, and we can all get tickets and go see it together.
Tell them all to reach out to 10 other people, and they reach out to 10 other people, because you know as well as anybody else, theater owners don't care what they show. They want to sell popcorn and sodas. And Fathom, this is a Fathom event. Fathom is very helpful for independent movies like this to get in the theaters, but without we don't fill up those theaters before October 29th. We'll only get those 2 days. And trust me, this great family movie, all age groups, PG rated, true story.
Kevin, can you give us a quick synopsis of what the movie's about?
Sure. It's a true story set in 1930, right in the heart of the Depression. So it's educational as well for people, because they don't teach history anymore in schools, as you know. They want to erase our history. But it's a true story about two con men, played by myself and John Ratzenberger. And they went through Oklahoma and Texas, wooing widows out of their money on fake oil wells. They were con men. They were flim-flam guys. And they would sell 500% of the shares, declare dry hole, go to the next town. They get to Kilgore, Texas. They strike oil by accident. Largest oil fund in the history of the world at that time. And of course, they get arrested because you can't sell 500% of anything. And all the widows come down for vengeance during their court trial. And it's won 10 film festival awards. It's won Best Romantic Comedy, Best Faith-Based, Best Family Movie, Best Straight-Up Comedy, it's a very funny story. There's a lot of hope and faith and redemption in it as well. And it's, like I said, it's a true story. So it's a wonderful true story about these two guys that had to go on their own journey as well.
And what a great cast. John Ratzenberger, as everyone knows from Cheers back in the day, which is one of my very favorite sitcoms of all time. Louis Gossett Jr., man. Dude, that dude, I don't think he's aged. I mean, the guy looks like a good-looking 50-year-old no matter what time you see him in a film.
He was great. My wife, Sam, was awesome in it. And then, of course, we got Tyler Mane here. A lot of people that the WWF world knows Tyler Mane. He was big in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
He was Sabretooth in X-Men. And he was...
Oh, my gosh.
He was in Jason and all the Jason scary movies. He was the guy with the mask.
Get out. Yeah. Holy cow. Well, that's so cool, man. Thank you for sharing that. We'll definitely support your effort in launching that in the theaters, and we'll be excited to go see it. And
love it.
That's amazing. So we wanted, obviously, there's a lot that we can get into with you today because you are so outspoken on some things. But what we were curious about was your journey through this acting, decades of being in Hollywood and being in the limelight. Hollywood right now is a very different place than it was, let's say, from what it was in the 90s.
Oh, no.
And I'm curious, Jared and I are both curious about your faith journey over this 3-decade-plus experience. Like, how have those two worlds collided? And what was it like 30 years ago versus, recent years?
Well, I'll go back even further than that. I moved to Hollywood after college days in 1986. I went out there to pursue that actor's dream. I wanted to be an actor since I was 11 years old. Didn't know a soul out there, but I already had a really good commercial tape put together. I grew up just outside of Minneapolis. And Minneapolis is home to a lot of national headquarters like Best Buy, Target, 3M, Honeywell, General Mills, Pillsbury. So I got that all-important SAG card. I had no problem getting a commercial agent before moving to LA off my commercial reel. And since I already had the SAG card, that's a huge thing to have as well, obviously. So when I got out there, I just hit the pavement hard. And I was one of the few guys I know was very fortunate, never had to work another job. Because most of the guys that I became friends with, and because you meet them from an acting class, we played basketball together and golf together and hung out. They all were working selling cars, bartenders, waiters, whatever it may be. I shot over 150 commercials in my life. So I was very fortunate to have those residuals, which is the actor's favorite word, coming in all the time to pay for my rent at my apartment in Santa Monica, to pay for my gym, to pay for my acting classes. And when I got Hercules, obviously that was a very big hit for 7 years there. Then I did a show called Andromeda after that for 5 years. I was the first captain after Captain Kirk, with Captain Dylan Hunt that Gene Roddenberry created back in 1969. So I had 5-year run on that one as well. Shot that up in Vancouver, Canada. But Hollywood's changed drastically. I never saw the hate and the anger and divisiveness and the attack on Christianity, which just blows my mind. If you look at schools and universities and churches and not just the church, of course, churches, hospitals, all those are started by Christian groups, all of those. And now you got, Ivy League students wanting to take any Christian reference off these 400-year-old buildings. The erasing of history is mind-boggling to me.
Yes.
Now we've had 30 years, 40 years of teaching, indoctrinating our kids through the public education, through the universities, and now all the teachers are the ones that are just out there with their politics, believing that socialism and communism is good, getting rid of God is good, and getting rid of the family unit is good. All this stuff, it's just destroying the country. It's decaying America, and I'm fighting back on that with the movies that I do, because Hollywood certainly doesn't want to do the movies that they used to do. They want to do movies that indoctrinate and fill people with hate and anger and over-sexualization. It's crazy.
Yeah, and obviously it's been a slow-growing type of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't one day or 1 year that really changed this this seemingly attack from those folks, the higher-ups, if you will, in the Hollywood scene. Has this grown you closer to God and emboldened you quite a bit, would you say? Like you felt the need to really become more outspoken? Certainly in the last decade?
I don't feel I was saying anything different today than I was even 20 years ago. It's just that the world became so politically insane that all of a sudden anything I said, it just became magnified. And the cancel culture world was born. I feel I'm the first victim of it in Hollywood. About 10, 11 years ago, my manager and agent called me and said, we can't work with you anymore because of your political point of view and you're being a Christian. The studios aren't going to want to work. And I went, that's amazing. You guys are the ones screaming for tolerance all the time. Tolerate what we do with our movies, tolerate our point of view. Yet tolerance is a one-way street with these guys. Hollywood is just as bad as Washington, D.C. with their hypocrisy. They know they're hypocrites. They know that they embrace the lie more than the truth, but they don't care. They just don't care. It's incredibly evil out there right now. And I don't harbor that anger and hatred to somebody who has a different point of view. I really don't. And just because people on the left can yell louder than me, it doesn't make their position right. So there's no logic to it. I said, can't we just have a conversation on a regular tone and just give me your reasons why you feel your way, and can't you give me my reasons why I feel this way? So, I'm a free speech guy. I'm not going to deny people's free speech, but I'll tell you what, the left, which runs most of the media, most of the television, most of the movies, they deny anybody on the right that wants to have a point of view. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Kevin, I'm wondering, could you tell me a little bit more about just your faith journey in general outside of Hollywood? I'm curious, how did you come to know Jesus? How did you, all of that? Was that before you moved out, or I don't know any of that?
Oh yeah, easily. I grew up, I'm second generation Norwegian. My grandparents came over at a very young age with my great grandparents in the early 1900s from Norway. And that was a very typical place to be in the Lutheran religion. So I grew up at St. John's Lutheran Church, very typical in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa. And really was my youth pastor. It was huge for me. Pastor Lee was our teenage youth pastor, and we had a place called The Room on Wednesdays where 13 to 17, 18-year-olds could go to. It was 2 Sunday schools. They took down the wall in between, and they put a bunch of these beat-up old couches and chairs, and we'd sit around and be very casual in his conversation about Jesus and God with us, and sort of bring the Bible into our world, which was sort of important when you're kind of on that journey yourself. So I've never stopped being a believer. I've never stopped doubting there was a God. We certainly know there's a Jesus. Even the biggest atheists in the world, like a Dawkins or Hitchens or Singer, that are very famous for their points of view, debating against apologists, they say, we know there was a Jesus. There was a man named Jesus that walked around during that time period. So they don't deny that. I always tell friends of mine, I got atheist friends, and I'll say, we'll be sitting at a table and having dinner somewhere, and I go, so who made this table? And they'll go, well, somebody made it. I go, exactly. Mm-hmm. Somebody made it. It wasn't you, and it wasn't me. So
that's right.
Until you can, well, who started God? I don't know. It's the chicken or the egg, right? Well, one day we'll find out. But you look at the stars and realize that this is every star you see is in our Milky Way galaxy, and the next closest galaxy, Andromeda, is 2 light years away. You got to travel the speed of light for 2 years to even get to it. And that's just one of billions of galaxies. You're going, guys, it didn't just happen. Something made it happen. And
that's right. Yeah. Well-known Christian apologist Frank Turek said, you can't go on an infinite regress. There has to be an uncaused first cause. There has to be something extraordinarily powerful and intelligent and personal and creative and all-knowing and all, it's the only thing to me as a Christian, a lifelong Christian, that makes sense to me, even from a young age, looking up at the stars. And that's how we're to know of God's ultimate goodness and greatness is to look to the heavens, to look to the stars, and to know that there's more stars than there are grains of sand on the earth, on 100,000 earths, they say.
Yeah.
There's more stars than grains of sand on 100,000 earths, which is incomprehensible to most.
Mind-boggling.
Unbelievable stuff. 180-degree change of direction here, because this is something that, because we're a fitness and health publishing company, and we've been making fitness and health products for a very long time. So Jared and I wanted to know a little bit more about back in the day when you were Hercules and you were at just peak condition and terrific shape for many years. What was your workout regimen like? If you could take us through maybe a typical week or something of what you were doing to stay in tip-top shape.
Well, back when I always worked out. I started lifting pretty heavy in high school and college. I definitely got up to the weight that I've been on Hercules. I stayed about 225 to 230 pounds for like 20 years. I mean, I'm 6'3". I always worked out. On Hercules, when I got it, I maybe put on 5 more pounds of muscle. I think I was like 222 or 223 when I got the role. But I knew going in that they weren't looking for some steroid guy, no neck. They really wanted a guy that he could be NFL quarterback size. He could be a decathlon athlete, whatever. That's what they wanted, a different type of Hercules. And obviously they put, Sam Raimi was our exec producer. So, they put on that really funny humor and it's sort of poking fun of yourself. And I think that was the key to the show, is not to take it too seriously. They also had good messages in there for being a mythological. They had a lot of biblical messages there and morality. I thought it was great. They wouldn't do that.
It's weird how truth just shows up in places, doesn't it?
They wouldn't do it today. They probably wouldn't. They'd make a whole different Hercules series, unfortunately. I was always, ate 5 meals a day. I would have just carbs in the morning, whether it was French toast or whether it was oatmeal, whatever. The other 4 meals are spread out a couple hours apiece, and it would just be protein. And then I'd be on the set 12, 13, 14 hours a day. Then I'd go to the gym for an hour and a half, 2 hours every day. And I had a great trainer there that would work with me. Steve was originally from San Francisco, but he fell in love with a Kiwi gal and got married and stayed down there. And he was always in great shape. I mean, he's in his 70s now. He just won the Mr. Universe over 70s in his weight category. He's just ripped.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Steve Rosenbaum, if you wouldn't Google it, you'd see it. It's just unbelievable. It's 72, 73 years old.
Wow.
But it was...
So you were putting in the long days. Those are long days.
I was anywhere from 16 to 18 hours door to door every day. So it was, I'm not whining about it. I loved doing it. I loved being on the set. Working out to me was, you guys work out. I get grumpy if I don't work out. So I still work.
That's right.
Hey, I do cardio pretty much every day. I still lift weights at least 6 times a week. I just don't lift heavy like I used to, but I got a great gym at the house. I'd rather spend the time getting the workout and then driving to a gym and driving back. So I just, it's always been part of my life. And I grew up with 3 other brothers and we're all very athletic. So it was.
Oh man, that's amazing. Age. And that's what drives me nuts about people making excuses about not having the time to fit in a workout. You got a guy like yourself who was grinding for 12, 15 plus hours a day and still said, I got to go work out for an hour or two because you know what? It's a release. It's good for me. It makes me feel better. I'm not myself if I don't work out. I'm very much, Jared knows, working with me now for a while. If I don't get my workout in, I'm not myself. I don't feel right. There's
a lot of things that make Chris cranky.
Oh, would you say? That's right.
Well, you can find food in the hotels if they got a bad gym at the hotel, which a lot of hotels do. you can still find a place to push up, sit ups. You can walk the stairs up and down in the hotel. I mean, it's always a place you can find a place to do something. Even stretching, get on the floor and go stretch for 15, 20 minutes before you go to bed at night. You'd be surprised how much better you're going to sleep.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Hey, Hercules said it, so it's got to be good.
That's
so.
right.
Go,
I was going to say, just even with like mobility, right? I mean, and making sure that you stay mobile and keeping your joints loose and all of those things. I mean, especially as you're aging, like, the use it, you lose it. That's true for muscle, but I think for mobility as well, and just keeping up with that in order to keep functioning and having a life that is satisfactory. I mean, I can't imagine getting to a place where you can't move around and you can't do anything. That just doesn't feel like a fun life to be living. So.
You see it every day from people that are just so hereditary and the obesity in this country and overweight, and it's like, wow, and you get locked in these habits, and they go, oh well, what can I do now? Well, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Right. Number one, stop eating a vat of caramel corn at 9:00 at night. At least start there.
But it's so good. It's so good.
It is,
but it's so good. Jared doesn't have these problems. Okay, he can live on like bologna sandwiches and Twizzlers, and he's in a constant state of trying to bulk.
Yeah, I don't know if I would lose or weight, but certainly it would clog up my arteries and do all of the other bad stuff. I had a good friend. He was tall and lanky, and he was working out, and he thought he was in the best shape of his life, and then it turns out he had high cholesterol, and so he was eating wrong. And so I mean, you can look good on the outside, and you still are kind of trash on the inside. And so that's how everybody has their different things and different goals and different things, but being healthy ultimately is the goal that you're looking for. And that, you have to, it's like, that's the thing too that bothers me. And I'm sure you'd agree with this too, Kevin, is that, the one fix all for everybody, whether it's medicine or health or whatever it might be, all of our bodies are different, our body makeups are different, and what we can tolerate, what we can't tolerate. Like we see it all over the place, but then it's like, for some reason, when we say something specific, people say, "Oh, no, that's you. Everybody has to do this exact one thing," and it's just that's not the case.
No, genetics make a difference as well. I totally get it, but they are so far along now in terms of what you can do for different body types, and obviously sugar is the enemy. I mean, sugar is the enemy. It's as simple as that. Carbs are as well, but I think that's one concept for pretty much everybody. But I think some people can handle it better than others. But still. Cutting down on those things, sugar causes so much inflammation in your bones.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it's just, I tell people, I said, try 2 weeks without having sugar. Just try it. I mean, you're going to have withdrawal symptoms, trust me, but try it, and you'll see how much better you feel, how much better you sleep. But some people just don't have the willpower to do it.
Yeah, agreed.
I feel it in about an hour.
Yeah.
I need my sugar.
No, sugar, you couldn't have said it better. Sugar feeds inflammation, and it feeds cancers of the body. So the best thing you can do is minimize it. Not saying don't eat fruits and vegetables. Certainly we're talking artificial sweeteners and sugars and stuff that's in all the fake Franken foods that are out there.
Maybe for me on Saturday night, I would allow myself to have some kind of dessert. But I was pretty, but I'm pretty focused and I'm pretty strong-willed, so it's easy for me to just say no and set it. But on Saturdays, heck yeah, give me that chocolate lava butterscotch delight, whatever.
Whatever they're serving.
Yeah.
Now, Jared, you had a fun question for Kevin.
Yeah, well, Kevin, I know that you met your wife on set on Hercules, right? How long have you guys been married now?
25 years. So
25 years.
That amounts to like a double diamond, I think.
That's right. Yeah. I think that it's like 3 lifetimes, something like that.
It is. That's impressive.
So my question is, I mean, you're putting in these long days, and I know that even now you continue to be work heavy. You're putting a lot of hours in, and I'm just thinking in terms of the biblical father and the biblical husband. What does that look like for you in your life? What does the balance look like? I know you have 3 kids. They're getting older now, but you mentioned earlier you have 3 great kids that you love, and I'm just wondering, what are the things that you did in your home that maybe you look back on? I'm like, man, I'm really glad that we did this, especially for our listeners who are trying to balance work life and home life. And hey, I want to be a better dad. Hey, I want to be a more godly husband. What are things that you have done throughout the course of your lifetime that you would say and pass that advice and wisdom on to somebody else?
Well, I'd say a lot of your listeners didn't have the work schedule I had. I'm sure most men out there don't have an 18-hour door-to-door.
Right. Absolutely.
With Andromeda, my second series, it was a much better schedule. It was 12 hours door-to-door. And that's when we started having kids. So I was home because I didn't have any kids on Hercules. I didn't get married until season 6 on Hercules. So I was home every day between 5 and 6 o'clock. That was my schedule on Andromeda, which was great. So I was home for dinner with my kids when they were babies. I would bathe them. I would feed them. I would read bedtime to them. So I was there for those evening hours. That was my time with the kids, since my wife had to be all day with them. And that's sort of, we're homeschoolers. My wife's a homeschool advocate. She travels the country. She's got like 3 or 4 books written on homeschooling. You guys should have her. Oh. She's a fire.
Wow, we will.
And
I'll make a note.
And she, would travel with me when I shoot my movies. I shoot about 4 or 5 independent movies every year. I've shot over 80 movies since Andromeda finished. And so the kids grew up on the movie sets. They'd be there on the set with me, so I'd have all day with them then. During that time, it was great because they were with me and they were getting older at this time. And by the time my boys were 11 and 13, they said to me, "Dad, I want to be an actor," which didn't surprise me because they're growing up and seeing it. So now they're 22 and 19. My 22-year-old just finished his 8th or 9th movie. And my 19-year-old's got about 4 movies under his belt already. So they're way ahead of the ball than I really know what at that age. It's important that I don't know, we're homeschooled, so they're with us all the time, which is great. Mm-hmm. That makes a big difference because I went to public school, so literally I'd leave at 7:30 in the morning, and with all my sports, I'd be home at 6 at night. So my parents weren't there to see that, what was going on in the classroom. But back when I was at school, math teachers actually taught math. Science teachers actually taught science. Today, public school teachers are teaching sex and transgenderism and all this. I'm going, wait a minute, but you're a math teacher. Why are you showing a video on transgenderism? Well, it's weird to me. Yeah. I'm a
doesn't make sense.
I've worked with gay people all my career. You won't find one that will go say he was horrible to me, he was mean to me, he's a racist, he's a transphobe, he's a homo. You'll never get that because it never happened. But because I'm a Christian and a conservative, they'll throw that label on you right away. In today's world, we live in a world now that anybody can say anything about anybody, and now you're guilty until proven innocent. It's pathetic what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's not surprising though. I mean, we see it in scripture, right? All the time of, hey, the world's going to hate you because of me. And it's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just the reality of it. And so I think sometimes we have to just fix our perspective or change our expectation of how we think people are going to receive it, and trust that in the midst of that God is doing what he needs to do, and that God is going to use us to bring people to him. And I mean, we have to, right? I mean, otherwise it's kind of like you have to laugh or you're going to cry, kind of idea.
That's right.
But I mean, I didn't realize that you guys were homeschooling. We just started homeschooling this year. Originally we had always said, because of all of the things that were going on in public schools, we said, hey, as soon as our kids reach junior high, we're going to start homeschooling. Our oldest hit middle school this year. And then my wife just said, man, I really feel like God's saying we just need to bring them all home. And so we have 4 kids.
Wow.
And so we're just starting our journey. I would love to have a conversation with your wife about homeschool.
Her first book is called They're Your Kids. So people go to sorbostudios.com. They can order the book from her, but she travels the country. In fact, she and I are going to speak at Liberty University next month. And from there, we're going up to New Hampshire. We've been invited to speak with all the GOP candidates running for president for the next term. We're going to be speaking with them at the big convention they have up there. My wife's going to speak on homeschooling versus public schools. I'll be speaking on the culture war that Hollywood has waged on all of us with the movies that I do, that used to be what Hollywood does. So Walt Disney said back in the 1950s that movies and television will influence our youth. Well, I think we've seen that's happening big time. And Walt Disney right now, trust me, is spinning in his grave what Disney with trademark names. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yes, he is. One thing I'm hearing from how you answered that question from Jared regarding your family life with young children, you were there. And I think if more dads were just present and just part of the day for their children, my gosh, I mean, it's up to us to be kingdom men, to step up in our homes and be men and be resilient and be strong and be a foundation for our spouse.
He was feeling the transition.
Yeah, man. Dude, I'm just telling you. But listen, I want to get into the book so badly. But as a funny little side note, Jared is a huge fan of the show Psych back in the day. And you had a little cameo on that show. Jared, come on, talk to him about. I never watched the show, but you were a big fan. So go ahead.
Listen, I'm trying to find something, but keep going.
No, you're good. We love that show. It's one that we can watch over and over again, and it doesn't feel as, quote unquote, woke as a lot of the newer stuff. And yeah, man, it was so fun seeing you show. I mean, they had so many good, cameo presences on that show throughout the whole thing.
I played the bounty hunter on that show.
Yep.
And they called me back over the next 3 years. They called me back 4 times to come back and recur that role over and over again. Every time they called me, I was filming another movie over this.
No,
I couldn't go because you're a fan of the show. We were fans. My kids love this show. If they liked a certain character, they would recur those people every once in a while.
Yep.
And what was great for me is I shot my second series, Andromeda, up in Vancouver, Canada. They shot in Vancouver, Canada after my show was done, and they had half of my crew from Andromeda. So it was like,
oh, wow.
Great. And those guys were great to work with. They were great.
Yeah.
And actually, I have a movie that came out earlier in January or February called Left Behind, Rise of the AntiChrist, based on the Left Behind books. And Corbin Burnson is in that movie with me, and Corbin played the father on the series on Psych. So,
oh, how funny!
Yeah.
Henry Spencer.
Yep. Can I say something real quick, just because I want to get this out there? You guys should be part of this. I'm going to send you guys information on it. I do a lot of Comic-Con shows, and I do a lot because of Hercules Andromeda. I still get invited. I 30 times a year I can go. I pick about 5 or 6 places a year to go, and most of the time, the last 6, 7 years, people come to my table, more than half now, because they want an autograph of me as from God's Not Dead or Soul Surfer or What If or it's not Hercules or Andromeda. So I started saying, why are we not doing a faith and family type con? Well, I'm doing it. Okay, write this down. It's called riseupcon.com. Riseupcon.com. May 29th, May 30th. First, it's going to be in Sevierville, Tennessee, just south of Knoxville, and we've already got a great cast of people that are going to be there signing autographs, just like Comic-Con. But it's going to be people that have done faith movies, like Dennis Quaid, like Zach Levy, like Dean Cain, like Candace Cameron. I mean, we got a great group of people that are going to be there, and a lot of booths are available, and I think you guys should be there as well. I'll send you information for it.
Yeah, but please do.
A charity golf event as well the day before. We'll have a bunch of celebrities playing with people, raising money for good causes, and I'm very excited to have this happen. It's our first time giving it a go, so we'll see what happens. But we got Jeff Foxworthy's going to be there. We just got a really good group of people that are in that world. John Schneider's going to be there.
Did you say where it's going to be?
Corbin Burnson, Sevierville, Tennessee. It's near Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah. That's great.
Jared, we might have to book a trip here. We have places that we need to go every year to help further the cause of the show and other areas of the business.
So there, and you could interview different actors that are there.
That's right.
Gosh, that could be amazing.
That would be fun. I always thought it would be great. I mean, I thought of like late night shows and things like that. I always wanted a space that celebrities, whether they're musicians or actors, different people could come and not just talk about whatever they're working on as they would do on like a Tonight Show or something like that, but also be able to say, hey, this is how God is using this, and this is how God is using it in my life. And I just don't see that existing yet.
Jerry Jenkins will be there. He's going to be signing his books from the Left Behind series and stuff. So
yeah, good stuff.
It's going to be pretty cool. We're putting a couple movies up. We're going to have a new faith-based movie from Corbin Burnson going up. I'm going to have a new documentary called Eating with the Enemy that I'm the narrator on, and that one has to do with the Last Supper, Eating with the Enemy. It's going to be up here.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
It's good.
I love it. So what was the I think at this point we kind of
We're segueing
the cat's out of the bag with right. We've been everywhere, haven't we? This is good. We're cramming a lot in. The inspiration for the book seems obvious and apparent at this point, where it comes from. What really inspired you, though, to create a children's book? Is it just because it seems like the attack is really focused on our youth?
Well, the attack is not only on our youth, but attacks on anybody who says they're a Christian nowadays, which is weird to me. We protect other religions. But if you're a Christian, they attack you. I don't, and that's because of the media. I mean, if you look at every movie, television show Hollywood's ever done, so in the last 40 years, anybody who's a pastor or something, he's the doofus, he's the idiot. Anyone who says he's a Christian, he's the idiot. I mean, you look at what they did on The Simpsons for 40 years, the guy next door neighbor, the pastor, he's a total goofball and just a moron.
Yep.
So I always do
I do a lot
of speaking events. I do a lot of pro-life speaking. I do a lot of Christian education speaking. And I always say at these events, I'm here to wake up the lions. I'm tired of people saying the silent majority. Stop being silent. We need the lions to wake up. The sheep are going to be the sheep. So Brave Books came to me, and I'm very honored they came to me. My friend Kirk Cameron did one. He got attacked, if you remember, because he was reading at public libraries. They'd rather have drag queens read to their 5-year-olds instead of Kirk Cameron. Kirk is so scary. This is really weird to me. So they came to me and said, we love what you're doing about embracing masculinity, because I'm tired of this toxic masculinity, this emasculation of men. And we're doing it for decades, and it's only getting worse. Let boys be boys and let them grow up to be a man. And this book is called it's called The Test of Lionhood. And it deals with Lucas here as a lion cub. He goes into the woods with his 2 sisters. Her little sister gets cut by this plant that's incredibly poisonous. And he's well aware of this plant. They've already talked about the family. His father's told him about the plant. He's not going to have time to go back into his parents. She's going to die. So he knows the only way to go is go to the top of the mountain where his father's brought him before and showed him the special flower that will save her life. So he's got to get past and find his own courage to get past these obstacles that's going to be thrown at him as he's traveling to save his sister's life. It's a great story. It doesn't bash anything. It doesn't bash people. It's just a great story about a young little boy growing up to learn what it's like to be a man. It's as simple as that. But he'll still get attacked, but that's fine. This is what they do, which is unfortunate because all they have is hate and the anger in their lives. And to me, I pray for them because what a god-awful way to go through life.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like a hopeless journey when so much of obviously the Christian story, and when you're talking about Jesus, it's all full of hope, and it's all full of faith and connection and love and all these things that are so honorable and so good, and yet they're just constantly under this attack, and it's very frustrating, as you no doubt have experienced, to come at it from a loving way. It's hard to come at this from a kind, loving way, right? Because because it is so irritating. Constantly.
But we do have to be lions. We got to walk the road less traveled, because Jesus went away in that road. And I always tell people I want to turn the road less traveled into a superhighway. Do not be afraid. I get people in every movie set come up to me and say, they look around very quietly. Hey man, thanks for being a voice for us. Be a voice for yourself. Stop letting government's favorite weapon is fear. We saw it. They've been using it for decades, but you saw it in full display during COVID, where they shut down churches, they shut down schools, but God forbid, shut down a liquor store or a strip club. They're essential. Shut down the mom and pop grocery store. It's been around 60 years, but keep COVID and Target open. That's okay. Because this has nothing to do with money, does it? Give me a break. It's just sad. Take one shot.
What do you think?
3 shots. Take 4 shots and wear 7 masks. Oh, you still got COVID. Anyway, take another shot. It's unbelievable what they're doing. Crazy. And people are ready to dive back on that road again. Wake up. Wake up.
It's kind of the scary thing, right? Sometimes I think to myself, surely people don't actually think that way. And then you have conversations with people, in random places, and you go, okay. That's why we are where we are.
The only person you're supposed to fear is the Lord. That's in the Bible. Do not live your life in fear.
Yeah. What do you think, if you could look forward and say, hey, this is what the end goal is? Do you have any idea of what you think they're trying to get to?
It's control.
Do you think it's just a form of control? Yeah.
Governments of every country want total control of your life from cradle to grave. And, in America, it's been going on forever. And they take an inch, they take an inch, they take an inch. Well, after 100 years, it's miles upon miles they've taken away. We're losing freedom of speech. You already know that. They're already arresting people of freedom of speech. The whole January 6th thing, if we're getting the politics of the Capitol, Trump never once said attack. He said, go, if you're going to go there, be peaceful. It's on tape. But it doesn't matter if it's on tape anymore. People still want to.
Right.
And it's amazing to me that the proof coming out that the FBI was involved, all those people that made this happen. But it's incredible to me what's going on in our country right now. And it's pathetic. And I think both sides have to wake up and get rid of mail-in voting. We'll never have honest voting. Because if you remember right, Hillary Clinton in 2016 said he's an illegitimate president. He didn't really win. But it's okay if they say it. But if we say on our side, oh, let's arrest everybody for saying, it's just like, my head wants to explode sometimes. It's just crazy.
I still say that's one of my favorite things is when Trump won the presidency and they showed Hillary's reaction. That's one of my favorite political moments.
She couldn't have looked more smug, right?
Well, and the shock of what do you mean? What just happened?
Oh, yeah. Yes. No question. Well, I'm sure they told her, don't worry, it's in the bag. And of course, they didn't happen.
Right. Oh, 100%.
So they just made sure next time around they were overcompensating. So that. But anyway.
Well, all we can pray for and what we continue to pray for here at Critical Bench, our team of good men and women and our virtual team, and what we can ask of all of our listeners is just pray everyone up that kingdom men and women stand up for what is good and what is right and what is truthful for this generation and for the next one to come, that these kids are grounded in something that's real and not in all this just unbelievable noise that has really gotten louder and louder over the last 10 plus years.
I got two things. I got two things left. I got to get running here too, and I know you guys are done with me. So, Test of Lionhood.
Please,
go to
we're never done with you, Kevin.
It's
Come on,
bravebooks.com, bravebooks.com, and get this. You got jump up. You get this book free, autographed by me if you actually join with them. And every month you get a new book. And my movie, Miracle in East Texas. Please go, Miracle in East Texas. You can go to miracleinEastTexas.com or sorbostudios.com. Sign up. Fill up those seats right now. Power of 10. We need to keep this movie going. It's a wonderful PG-rated family movie.
Yeah, we can't wait to help support that in October. All your listeners on the show releases. Go get your tickets. I love what they're doing over at Brave Books. Are you in the works to do anything more with them down the line, Kevin?
You're going to see a lot of promotion from me. I just did a lot of commercials for them just earlier today, actually. So
they're killing it too.
So they got quite a big ad campaign coming out.
Yeah, it's been really fun actually seeing their ads come out. I mean, a lot of times with like Christian stuff over the years, it kind of has that almost kind of Christian cringe to it a little bit sometimes, or it comes across as cheesy. And man, they're just doing such a good job. I watch these things and it draws me in. The Brave stuff, I'm super pumped about it. So make sure to check that out.
Christians can be cool and funny too, you know.
That's right. Yeah, we can do stuff really, really
well.
And
good looking. I mean, look, I don't know that I've seen three good looking men like this in quite a while. You know, this is impressive stuff going on there. So, Kevin, it's been an absolute delight. We thank you so much for making time to be on the show, and we will do everything that we can to help promote what you're doing in the world. And don't stop, please.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. God bless everyone.
Thank you so much, listeners. Thank you for joining us again on Strong by Design. We thank you so much. Smash that 5 stars. Leave us a review. Let us know what this show or what this episode means to you. And we'll be talking with you very, very soon. God bless you all.
Thank you so much for listening to the Strong by Design podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe so that more people can find out about our show. Plus, you don't want to miss any future episodes with the amazing guests and topics we have lined up for you.